welcome everybody. Thank you to everybody that's joining us on Zoom right now and everybody listening in on ACB Radio. I'm Tony Stevens, the Director of Development for the American Council of the Blind, and I want to extend a special welcome to everybody joining us via our Zoom webinar tonight. And as well, everybody listening in, as I just said, because we are extremely fortunate tonight, I am humbled to have a great guest this evening as we give thanks for 2020, and particularly thanks to you, all the donors and supporters and volunteers and everybody who has been able to make what has been, I think what a lot will say, a very hectic, chaotic year into a year that has been also affording us great opportunity. So without further ado, I would love to welcome President Dan Spoone. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Tony. It's great to be here this evening. What a wonderful opportunity to say a special thank you to all our members and friends and donors and corporate partners and all those that have worked so hard to make this year, I'll just say, an exceptional year for the American Council of the Blind, giving really unforeseen circumstances when we began 2020.
It has been quite a year, definitely one that I think we will remember for generations after this. This will be the kind of year that, you know, folks will look back and talk about. Do you remember 2020 when ACB did this and we were doing this as well as a society and a culture? You know, the purpose of this opportunity this evening, as the Director of Development, I'm not here asking for money. I'm not here running a campaign or anything like that. Our goal tonight is simply to say thank you. You know, we're a week away from Thanksgiving, and there has been so much going on this year, and hands down, the huge amount of success and opportunity that we've been able to have as the American Council of the Blind would not be possible if it were not for all the volunteers, the contributors, the donors, as Dan mentioned, our corporate sponsors, our individual sponsors at the convention, everybody that gave, if it was a little, if it was a lot, but most importantly, those that gave their time. We're fortunately having the fruits of those benefits of our volunteers tonight. I'd like to thank Monica, who's running this Zoom meeting, and Cindy, who helped get it set up. I think everybody knows Cindy, who's the membership coordinator. If you don't, you need to find out how to get involved with the ACB community. It's one of the great successes we've had this year. What I'd like to do, particularly for those that have been laboring hard this year and giving whatever way they can give, is to take a minute to share with you some of the successes we've had in 2020. And I'd like to pass it over to you, Dan, to really, you know, go ahead and ask you now, you know, because we've talked a lot, obviously, behind the scenes about all the great things that have happened despite this huge pandemic and all the hardships the world has faced, how lucky we've been. And I'd love to hear from your own perspective, the big takeaways this year as to how we've been afforded so many great opportunities and how we've had so many people step up to the plate to help us out.
Well, thank you, Tony. And you know, we started the year just kind of like most every other year. In February, we had a wonderful, DC leadership conference with our board meeting, our president's meeting, and our legislative seminar. We had well over 200 people in attendance in person at the Holiday Inn in Old Town Alexandria. You know, life was kind of off to a really just a normal, but really positive and good start for the American Council of the Blind. We streamed everything on ACB radio, had a lot of energy, wonderful breakout sessions, really kind of started to put our whole steering committee program steering committee approach in place for the first time with some really exciting breakout sessions. And then all of a sudden, who knew, as we welcomed Tony Stevens in as our new development director that weekend, that literally 2 to 3 weeks later, our world would be turned upside down with really the explosion of the pandemic for COVID-19. And when that happened, I think we were kind of thrown back on our heels initially. Our staff, as you are very aware, all had to, on March 16th, all had to start working remotely from home. We closed both offices, the Minneapolis office and the Alexandria office. And we were really worried about the productivity of our staff and our contractors. But it was amazing, just the ability with the Zoom platform, with Ring Central, with the good infrastructure we had in place, the IT infrastructure we had in place. We really didn't miss a beat. We were able to stay productive, answer questions from our members and friends, keep advocating for the issues that meant so much to us, and really keep the pulse of the American Council of the Blind going. And then a couple of new things happened for us. So first, we realized that we had a lot of members that were in isolation, that were really struggling to deal with the pandemic. And
Mm.
Eric and Cindy and I, we kind of got together for the first time and said, let's try a couple of Zoom, evening meetings just to see. I think the first one the first one Cindy did was her hump day happy hour for her affiliate presidents on Wednesday. We had 2 community calls the first week, went to 11 the second week. By the end of March, I think we had done 70 or 80 community calls, which grew to 150 the next month and 200 the next month. Now, for the last 3 months since the convention, we have been averaging over 300 community events each month. And these they cover the waterfront. They cover everything from social coffee hours to exercise to the latest technology to a shout out to the Instapot folks and the wonderful sessions they have and our crafty crafters, and it just goes on and on and on. There's something there for everyone. And what has made it so special, it's been blind people doing work and support for other blind people. So it's our community helping ourselves. And
Mhm.
from that, the spirit, we've come together, the energy. And I think I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Tony, but I just felt like that was the impetus. It just, that energy and excitement just mushroomed into the convention. And the other kind of big change we had to make in 2020, at the March 30th board meeting, we had to decide to have a virtual convention instead of the convention we had planned for Schaumburg, Illinois. And that was depressing for us for about a day. And
Yeah.
then Janet Dickelman, the convention coordinator, called me and said, Dan, we've got to make lemonade out of these lemons. And I tell you, our staff, our volunteers, they went to work, and I could not be prouder of what we were able to accomplish at our virtual Path to the Future convention. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. We had 108 breakout sessions. We had general sessions. We had a audio described tour channel with 10 tours of museums and parks and the White House. It was just, uh, we were wondering if we would get anybody to show up for the exhibit hall. We sold out. We had 8 hours of continuous vendor presentations for our exhibit hall. We had 250 hours of content, 8 primetime shows, and just an amazing participation. And we learned a lot about ourselves through that process. I think we learned that, we unintentionally were leaving people out of the process by being at a strictly kind of physical only convention. And so I think you shared this maybe recently, but I believe
Mhm.
over 25% of our attendees at the convention this year, it was their first convention ever.
It was,
And
yeah.
and that was just spectacular. And the energy that came out of that, I mean, 108 breakout sessions. Think about it, all done by volunteer Zoom hosts that were trained by our Zoom team, over 400 presenters, which again were our volunteers, members of the community, our partners, our corporate sponsors. All these people came together to provide the content. And as you said earlier, it's the combination of the reaching out of people's time, talent, and treasure to really lift ACB through this pandemic. And I would never in a million years want to ever have a pandemic, but I think in a lot of ways, you said the word opportunity earlier, and I think it presented a unique opportunity for our community, and I think we've taken a big step towards taking advantage of that and just creating a new spirit inside of ACB.
I think you nailed it on the head when talking about spirit, Dan. You know, because I was talking earlier today, we did a similar call today at 2, and thanks for everybody that could join in at 2 o'clock today with Eric Bridges and I. But we were sending out messaging to other folks outside of our blindness world, right? In like
Hmm.
March and April. And one of the messages we talked about was, you know, as people who are blind and visually impaired, we know what it's like, you know, having lost our sight and to feel isolated, to feel socially distanced just by the mere nature of what made us different from all the sighted world at some point in our life. And for all of us who had overcome that and become independent, you know, it's that passion, that desire to say, you know what, this isn't happening again. We're not going to put up with this. And it literally was that spirit that everybody had that brought people together, the volunteers that, you know, Cindy at first maybe had 1 or 2 people helping out with Zoom. Then she began to have 10, 15, 20. And now she has an army of Zoom facilitators. These are meetings run by, you know, for the blind, but it's of the blind. We are
Hmm.
ourselves leading the way and setting up, you know, what essentially is this whole new village that's a real, genuine global village of a community. It's the whole new way, I think, for people who are blind and visually impaired to really experience community has really grown out of this.
And it's been a personal story for Leslie and I. You know, when this started, you know, we didn't have Zoom, you know, on our computers. We were intimidated by the whole process, and kind of almost kicking and screaming, we kind of took that step because we had to in order to be leaders of ACB and participate in the conversation that was taking place. And it brought a lot of pride and sense of accomplishment. Now it's not unusual for me to be on 7 or 8 Zoom calls in one day.
Yeah,
That's the way
it
the
is.
world's gone. But the other thing that was kind of neat about that is, you know, Leslie's ladies that she does, you know, aerobic exercise with every morning. During the pandemic, they weren't able to get together. Well, Leslie was the one, the blind lady. She was the one that pulled them all together and knew how to conduct a, you know, a Zoom meeting, a
Mhm.
conference call meeting, and so she became the teacher, and that, I think, again, was a sense of accomplishment that we weren't the ones waiting for somebody to help others or help us. We were helping others. And
Yeah.
that, again, quite a sense of pride out of that.
What I'd like to do is, because we've had, you know, the convention was a huge success. These community meetings have been a huge success. We're now getting
Mhm.
close to 2,000 since the pandemic
Yes.
started. 2,000 events, everything from,
Separate
you know,
events with
yeah,
about two to
individual
three
events.
thousand participants a week.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. Yeah.
And it is, you know, that's been outstanding. The work that Clark was doing, our Clark Rockville, our director of advocacy in terms of voting rights. I think we had over 20, more than 20 states that we were able to positively get the ball moving forward in this game of, can we also have our voice heard at the election this past year? We worked with Procter and Gamble to deliver 2,000 emergency care packages to people in 6 hotspots around the country, who are people in need, because we all remember very well what it was like when the whole world went online to buy everything and it completely overloaded all the shipping, you know, the logistics and everything. So we worked with Procter and Gamble. You know, a couple of just real quick numbers going back to the convention. Because again, this would not have been possible if it wasn't for you all, our volunteers, our donors, our corporate sponsors, our partners, people who walk with us in this experience of the past year that's been such a unique year. And, you know, a couple of things. You were right, 26% of people were first timers at our convention. We almost doubled our normal convention attendance. And
Hmm.
that was the paid people who paid. And so many more people paid in addition. We raised an extra from the prior year. I want to say an extra $5,000 almost in additional sponsorships where people, you know, paid for their registration fee, but then gave more.
We
We had,
had, I think, 300, over 350 people that were individual sponsors for the
yeah.
convention. Isn't that just outstanding?
And thank you to all those, because that meant you gave more. And we know for a lot of people, you know, the idea of saving money from traveling, but people were generous. Our auction blew through all past records. We raised over $33,000 for our auction. By the way, I know Leslie would love to hear me say this. Tune in November 29th for the next auction. But then again, I didn't say I was going to try to encourage to raise money for this. So I apologize.
But it's
I
okay to
had to
give a
give it.
shout out
It's
for
okay
that
to give a shout
holiday
out for the
auction. It's
auction.
gonna
Yeah,
be it's gonna be a
it's
lot
got
of
some
fun over
great for
Thanksgiving.
those that are
Yeah.
having a scaled down Thanksgiving meal this year, like we are. We're doing real simple, no big family. You got some good eats in that auction. But we raised we that was an additional $8,000 more than our past record for the auction from several years ago. All of our fundraising goals, our walk raised over $92,000 for our ACB virtual walk. We raised, corporate sponsorships. We were so thankful for, over, I want to say it was like 250 something $1,000 in corporate sponsors. More than that, like 260 something. Thank you to all of our corporate sponsors, all the people who we were trying something completely new. When we went live with the convention, it was the first of this magnitude. People had been doing some conventions over the past 3 months prior to ours, but nothing was 8 days, 249 hours. Like you said, 400 volunteers. We had over 400 new folks attending. We were on basically 5 radio channels. We created a media network over 5 streams available over, I say it now and she'll chime in, she that shall not be named, the A lady here, and it was just amazing. The work of our ACB radio and our Zoom at Deb Cook Lewis's leadership and Cindy with her volunteers. This wouldn't be possible without everybody that's joining us here tonight on the Zoom meeting, but everybody listening to ACB radio that has given support to us this year. So in that spirit of Thanksgiving, and I'd like to, Dan, if we can, take a few more minutes of your time to maybe answer a few questions. If people would like to know more things about how this, the labors of others have been helping ACB this year, but we couldn't do it without you all. So on
No,
behalf of myself and Dan, I'm sure you're the same. Thank you.
thank you,
Go ahead.
thank you. And it's continued. It's us, right? It's us all together. And every weekend we have another wonderful state convention that is broadcast live on ACB radio. Again, for blind people, of blind people, by blind people, right? And just amazing content and the amount of work that continues to be done there. And when you list everybody with their time, talent, and treasure, I also have to give a shout out to our friend Rick Morin, who actually ran the control center for the convention out of his garage in the middle of July. You know, 3 6-foot tables, 4 computers, a couple of splitters,
Yeah.
multiple Zoom accounts. I mean, it was just a phenomenal effort, and so many volunteers giving again of their time, talent, and treasure. So just thank you, thank you, thank you. We're here to celebrate.
We're here to celebrate, and we're also so excited for next year. We are not, slowing down at all. We have not been idle at all. We're looking forward to 2021. It'll be another virtual convention. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get to Phoenix. We are looking forward to Omaha. It looks like the vaccine will be getting out, in the next few months into the next year, through next year. We're excited about Omaha, but, we're starting a major national campaign next year. Everyone will be excited to know around health and wellness. Particularly for our brothers and sisters with diabetes. It's been a major issue, and diabetic retinopathy is now the leading cause of blindness in the country. So we're particularly and acutely aware of the issues and concerns faced by that community, but all of us that have been closed in during this pandemic and feeling shut in. The campaign's called Get Up and Get Moving, and it'll be a major public awareness, health and wellness campaign. We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to exciting new opportunities with Audio Description Project. We're looking forward to more advocacy that we're going to be doing, a great virtual leadership conference at the end of February that's going to be doing for the first time. Affiliates will be virtual, but think of, the over 500, 100 members of Congress we have the chance to engage with this time because we're not running around the hill. We're all in our comfy chairs at home. So we're excited about that. There's so much we're looking forward to for next year. But for now, let's, Monica, if we can take a few questions. If anybody has a question, Monica, can you just give the instructions real quick, the hand raising, and then we'll try to bring you in.
Yes, I can. Can you hear
Great.
me okay?
Yeah, thank
Great.
you.
Okay, awesome. So people have raised hands, but it's Alt Y on your PC, Alt Command, sorry, Options Y on your Mac, *9 on your phone if it has a keypad. And if you're using an app, it's in the middle of your screen.
And well,
So
go ahead,
we
Monica. Sorry.
go ahead. We will go to Patty
All
Fletcher.
right, Patty. Hey, Patty. And before
You
Patty,
will
just
see
real quick. So we have about 11 more minutes for Mr. Spoone. I know I'm stealing you from another call, Mr. President. And so we'll try to get as many questions as if we have in. If we can't get to everybody's question, feel free to give me a call in the office, or you can email me at astevens, ASTEPHENS @acb.org. And if you're not involved with ACB, email community@acb.org to make sure you're on the community list to find out all these great things going on with the community meetings. But go ahead. Hey, Patty, I think, was that right, Monica?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Patty.
Hi.
Hi, Patty.
I would just like to say that I have been sitting here listening, just totally blown away by all that you all have done. And I have been observing from afar. And I am now a member finally again, and happy to be here. And I just want to let you all know I won't take up any lots of time, but I would like to ask, reach out to me. I have a promotion business and a podcast, and I would like to assist in any way possible to take this wonderful stuff that you guys are doing and bring it out to even more people. So I'm here in any way that you can use me.
Thank you so much, Patty. That's a wonderful offer. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and Patty, if you could reach out to Tony, I think you got his, it's A Stevens with a PH, right? Tony, you might
Yeah.
spell it out for everybody. Yeah.
ASTEPHENS, A for Anthony, @acb.org.
Think I have it somewhere. And so anyway, thank you very much.
Well,
And thank you for joining and becoming a member, Patty. Welcome. Welcome back.
I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm absolutely thrilled to be involved. Things are the weird thing about COVID is it's been horrific, but for a business like mine, it made it grow because everything I do is for people online. So
Yeah.
Mhm. That's great.
Wonderful. Well, that's good news to hear. We're glad that you're not struggling too much, and at least with your job and stuff. So fabulous.
Thank you.
Monica.
Awesome. Next we'll go to, well,
And Tony,
Backyard
my
Burger.
next opportunity just canceled on me, so I have a little more time if you
Okay.
need it. Okay.
All right. And who was that, Monica? Who do we have now?
Backyard
Retired
burger.
somebody.
Is it really Backyard Burger?
I don't know.
I love
I think
Backyard
it's
Burger.
Backyard Birder.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, man, I'll take a
Okay.
double.
Dude. You'll see an ask to unmute on your screen.
I think our friend's unmuted. Hey, can you hear? Are you unmuted?
Am I unmuted or am I?
You are. We
No,
can
we
hear
hear
you.
you just fine.
All right,
Thanks for
I'm
joining.
retired Backyard Burger. I used to be a member 30 years ago. Due to health, I had to stop. Now my wife and I are members again.
Oh,
We
yay.
now here in Florida are making blind birding trails. I'm not know if you are familiar with that, where we take groups of blind people birding and teach them how to bird by ear.
Oh.
Kind of a
That's
new organization
fantastic. Yeah.
taking over the U.S. like a plague. And we just want to let you all know that we were here and that we're not dead. We're out there getting the job done.
Well, that's great news.
Well, thank you and welcome. Welcome back. And
Yeah, welcome back.
do you know Susan Glass? She is a birder. She loves it.
I've heard the name, but no, I don't know her personally.
What's your first name? But if we don't call, do we call you Backyard or do you go? You have
My
a different
name is Youssef.
Youssef.
Yes.
Youssef, I have to tell you a funny story at our banquet this year. When we were giving, one person was presenting the awards, there was a songbird out her window that you could hear at the banquet. And the next day, there must have been 20 posts on the leadership list trying to determine exactly what bird that was. And so there you go. There are a lot of birders
Yeah.
out there.
There are. There's a lot of us out there. We're trying to get people to understand that blindness isn't something to fear. They don't have to throw bottles and rocks at us anymore when we're outside. Although we've had experience with that in the not too far distant back.
Yeah.
But things are changing.
Well, one
Yeah.
thing that might be interesting, Yusuf, and we didn't mention this, one of the things we started this year to really empower our own voice, because we know historically this is such a unique year, is we started a blog. It's acbvoices.org. And we're looking for just interesting stories. If any of you want to share and love to hear more about what you're doing in your lives, because it helps
We're
us
all
know our
over the
community
net.
better.
We're all over the web. We're on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Well, we always welcome like stories. If you just reach out to voices@acb.org, we can help, and that helps get out the interesting stories people are doing. I'd love to hear more about the bird opportunity. That's interesting.
Sure thing. Appreciate it. Well, I'm
Yeah,
Thank
gonna
you.
be quiet.
Have a good evening. Hey,
thanks for joining us.
happy Thanksgiving.
You too. And y'all take care and stay safe. I'm gonna shut up now because I know there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that want to talk and ask a lot of questions. So
All right.
Tony and
You
all
well,
of you,
stay safe as well.
Thank you.
You have 8 raised hands,
All
as a
right.
matter of
Yes, I
fact.
was
All
going to
right. Well, let's
say
try to
that.
crank through a marathon.
Okay, we got
Welcome back, Tim.
Nolan. Feel free to unmute, Nolan.
Hi, Nolan.
Hello, Nolan.
Okay.
Hello,
Unmuted?
this is Nolan Parish, and I apologize. I'm getting interrupted by the Alex AI voice, which I hate. But I want to I want to really thank you so much for your guys' opportunity tonight for hosting this webinar on the Zoom platform. I know we couldn't, we as your supporters, we could not have done it without your help tonight. We truly, honestly to God, we as Americans and as blind folks, we truly thank you. We really do. And I myself, as a community event participant, I want to personally thank you, Tony Stevens, and Monica, the host of the Zoom platform, the moderators tonight. I want to thank every single person tonight because we could not do it without your generous support. And this is where all of this is going out. And before I go, I would love some support for the Technology and More podcast I have set up already. If you guys are looking to becoming a co-host, please feel free to reach out to community@acb.org, and they will try to get you in contact with me if you have any questions.
And thank you, Nolan, for helping do
Thank
that.
you,
You're welcome.
Nolan. And I think this is a really good time to mention that we're going to have a Friendsgiving. What is it that I believe I heard earlier today? Like 9 or 10 hours of straight
10 hours.
10 hours of
Yeah.
programming with some community events that'll be happening on Thanksgiving Day. So for any of you out there that are looking to share what you're thankful for, or just be part of the ACB community on Thanksgiving Day, it's here, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nolan. Who we got next, Monica?
We have Lucy.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Tony, Dan. It's so nice to meet both of you. And thank you both for speaking at our Michigan Council of the Blind convention.
I had a lot of fun.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to just kind of express things that Nolan and Patty have said. I want to thank especially Eric for allowing Cindy Hollis to work at home and to be able to move to where her family is. And then I'll probably get to meet her too.
You
'Cause I'm
recruited her to Michigan, didn't you, Lucy?
That's right.
Flat
And-
Rock.
And, it's just amazing the amount of hours that Cindy puts into this. I can't believe it. It's just, she is so caring and so compassionate and so into this organization and all of the members. I just can't say enough. And
I love you, Lucy. I did not pay her. I did not.
Thing we're doing on the
Yeah,
grant
but it's
side
all
is looking
true.
It is
more funding to help some
It's true.
spots.
and you know,
we
this
need
is
it,
this
no.
has really allowed me to become involved in ACB again. You know, I kind of slacked off for a few years, but the ACB community has just been a lot of fun and a lot of learning, and I just really appreciate the opportunity. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you,
Well, thank you
Lucy.
so much, Lucy. Yeah, thanks for joining
And
us
what's
tonight.
kind of interesting is we continue to hear not just new people that we're meeting, but people who were involved years ago that the
Coming
community has
back.
given them an opportunity to come back and get involved again. Yeah, isn't that neat? Yeah.
So
Monica, who we got next?
all right, we have, I believe it's Phil. You
Oh,
will
is
see an
that,
S
is that
on
Phil
mute.
Jones, my buddy there from Georgia?
I think it's Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Are you in your
Good
rocking
evening.
chair, Phil?
I am in my rocking chair.
Alright.
Unfortunately, I am have my feet, my legs elevated up. I have a problem with my leg, and I'm going to the hospital in the morning to find out
Oh
what the problem
no.
is.
Oh, okay.
Hope
Well,
it
we
goes
wish
well,
we
Phil.
wish you
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I have been a member of the American Council of the Blind for 35 years, and I've always been proud to be a member of ACB, but I will tell you, this incredible year has just really shone for me and made me realize just truly how proud I am, because Dan, you have just done an incredible job. And I mean, it just really did me so much good on the night of the banquet when you poured out your heart about your love for ACB. And Cindy, you've just been just incredible beyond incredible, I suppose, with all these community calls that you put together. The ACB community is just this whole new chapter to the American Council of the Blind. It just brings us all close together, and I cannot also say enough good things about ACB Radio. They have been so incredible about helping to put together these wonderful state conventions, which have given us an opportunity to know our affiliates all over the country and what great work that is going on in ACB. And I know here in Georgia, we have kept encouraging chapters to go ahead and meet, even if they can't meet in person, because our work goes on. And it's just really something I need, these community calls. And it seems like I've got just a whole new set of friends to be with every day. Kind of reminds me of the days I was in grammar school and high school when you saw your friends every day. I'm through the ACB community calls, I'm seeing my friends every day. And it's so hard to describe so much of what I'm feeling. And we had our state convention a couple of weeks ago, and here I was sitting in front of my computer with the headphones on, even though we weren't in person, yet I felt we were all kind of in the same room with one another, because it was just so great. And I'm just so proud to be a part of ACB, and it's the strongest I've ever seen it, and it's going to only get stronger as far as I'm concerned.
And Phil, a shout out to the SASI committee, Sight and Sound Impaired Committee, which you're a member as part of the deaf-blind community. And I know they're having a community event here the first week in December. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us tonight, Phil, and everything else you've been doing down in Georgia. We really appreciate it. So.
And thanks for giving of your time, talent, and treasure. We appreciate it, sir.
And good luck tomorrow.
Good luck. Yeah.
Certainly. Thank
All
you.
right, next you have about 7 more questions so far, and the next person is Todd.
Hi, Todd.
Hi, can you guys hear me all right?
Hear you just fine. Thanks for joining.
And Todd, I think I've heard you on a couple of the state affiliate conventions.
You probably have, Mr. President.
Yes.
Just so you know, Mr. President, when I first heard about this.
Please call me Dan.
I only did that because other people were calling you that.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, I apologize. But anyway, when I first heard about ACB as something you could join, I had just gotten back from doing my lab work a second time because I failed the first time, but that's neither here nor there. And I want to be as quick as I can so we can get to the people. But anyway, after doing my lab work a second time, I turned on the ACB radio to see what was up. And I was totally blown away by what I heard and what I was listening to. And, and when you guys talked about joining ACB, I thought, this is something I want to get into. And ever since the community calls have happened, I have felt very uplifted, very positive, because my day program shut down earlier in the year and they've closed their doors indefinitely. And while I've had other offers, I'll admit there was one I got excited about, but I miss you guys too much to give that up. So, so I think, I think I'll continue from home, because with virtual chat, I can go somewhere without ever leaving my room. It's really amazing.
It is.
So I just want to thank all of you so much for what you've done. You guys, if I have anything to be thankful for, it's you and what you've done for my life. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Todd. Thank you for being involved.
You're welcome, Dan, and you stay safe, mister. Take care.
Oh, same with you.
Yeah, likewise. Who else
All
we got,
right.
Monica?
We got Eugene.
Hi, Eugene.
Hey, Dan,
Eugene.
Tony, Monica,
Hello.
and Queen
Hey.
Cindy. I referred to her as the queen of community events. Yeah. I'd like to thank everybody that is part of ACB, especially the leaders. You've done such a great job at getting everything together. Cindy, she goes into it. She puts her whole heart and soul into the community events. She's like the mother hen watching over it, make sure it happens like it's supposed to. And add a little bit more on what Tony said, don't forget the 27th and 28th, they have the appetizer auction. And that gives you, Dan, about a week to get excess toilet paper rolls on hand.
Yeah, there's an inside joke there. But our first virtual auction was the Florida Council of the Blind auction, and that was in the real heart of the pandemic and the shortage. And so we were if you bid and won a Publix gift card, you also got a roll of toilet paper from our Leslie's private stash. So Eugene bid on, I think, 3 different Publix gift cards that day, but he told us we could keep our toilet paper. So we're very appreciative, because it was a very short supply.
Yeah, I look forward to the auction this year again. I'll definitely be there with my wallet.
If
Thank you so
Cindy is the queen of the community events, Eugene, you're the king of the auctions, buddy. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Y'all
thank
keep
you.
up the good work.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, next we have Agnes. You'll see an ask to unmute on your screen.
Hi, Agnes.
Agnes from Colorado. Is that Agnes?
That's right. I'm the
Hello,
one you,
Agnes.
Hey, I'm the one you saw at the Mountain State Council of the Blind convention.
That's right.
I really appreciate these community calls, and I like the idea that we can go to different conventions, because I have friends in different parts of the country, and sometimes I've been invited to come, but finances didn't allow it. But I went to the Mountain State Council of the Blind Convention, and I have some good friends in Ohio, and I'll be going to their convention on Saturday. And I hope I'll be as lucky at that convention as I was at the Mountain State Council of the Blind Convention, and maybe come home with another door prize. But I also appreciate the knowledge I've learned about Zoom that I've been able to utilize in other Zoom activities that aren't related to the American Council of the Blind, such as with the Area Agency on Aging, with participating in some of their different Zoom classes. And they had a Weld County Senior Symposium that they normally do in person, but this year it was done virtually, and we had a couple of Zoom practice sessions, and that was good. And I was able to go in and ask my questions, and I got some exposure because with their webinars, they did question and answer, although they were prepared to have people raise their hands, but I got some exposure to using the question and answer option, and that worked out pretty well. Thank you.
Well, and congratulations on becoming a Zoom expert. That's good job, Agnes. Yeah.
There you go, Agnes. You know, Dan, this is making me think about visiting, you know, other state conventions and conferences. It's almost like living vicariously without having to deal with someone that you can find to have to drive your U-Haul, which is really nice.
Oh, I'm telling you, I have been to Texas, Oregon, Washington, Kentucky, Michigan, heading to Ohio this weekend. I mean, and every one of them has an auction, Tony. It's awesome.
We should have little tour shirts next year for the convention that has all the cities in the back for all the state conventions.
I think so. I think that would be a great t-shirt. Yeah.
All right, Monica, who else we got? I know we're running close.
All right, we got Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Thanks.
Hi there. Good evening, Dan, Tony, Cindy, Monica. Dan, it is a pleasure to finally meet you.
Well, thank you. Pleasure to meet you, Melanie.
Where are you?
Melissa.
Where are you?
Melissa. Oh, Melissa. Is this
Yes.
Melissa? Oh,
Melissa from Burien, Washington.
Yeah. Okay. You're the country music fan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I sure am. Yes, sir.
I remember. I participated on a community event that you were hosting. I think it might have been your first one. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to actually finally meet you, and I hope to get to know you a little better. Because I know your wife, Leslie, really well. We've become good friends. Please tell her I said hello.
Will do.
But my one question that I have for you, and I'll make this very quick, is now that you are president of ACB, how do you feel right now? Do you feel like, just drained? Do you feel excited? Do you feel motivated? I mean, what is kind of going through your mind right now?
Melissa, the answer to that question is yes. I feel all of those things depending on the moment I'm living in, because it truly has been a roller coaster ride. And I think for the most part, I feel inspired just by the way our community has come together. But we're dealing with people, which are the most wonderful thing in the world and also can be the most aggravating thing in the world, right? So you are really trying to get the best out of everybody and getting everybody to work and play well together and take advantage of their skills and their God-given gifts. And that can be, there's opportunity and challenge there. But I tell you, I am so impressed with our staff. I'm so impressed with our members. I mean, I think everybody wakes up every morning thinking, and this is kind of my barometer, what can we do to make life better for the blind and visually impaired community?
Amen.
That's the goal, So
yes. Well, I'll just say really fast that, I listen to the board meetings, the national ones.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I have never attended a board meeting that was ran so smoothly and without a lot of confrontation. So you are obviously, you know how to work with people, and that's important.
Well, thank you. But we have good people to work with, which makes it easy.
Yes.
Thank you,
sir, and God bless you.
All right, thanks
so much for joining us.
All right, we keep getting more hands raised, guys.
Eventually, I'm sorry, folks, we can't go all night. We got to call it.
I know, right?
More time, I think.
Okay, we have Sheila.
Hey, Sheila.
Is that Sheila Forever Young?
I know that.
Sheila Forever Young. All right, Sheila.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Tony. Hi, Monica. Hi,
Hi.
Cindy.
Good evening.
The community calls have given me so much. And I'm gonna cry. I have got to meet so many beautiful people, including Monica.
Yes, that's right.
Cindy has trusted me, and hosting and facilitating has been so much fun.
And I love you.
I love you too, Sheila.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's because of Cindy and the leadership that we've been able to do this. So I'm just thankful that we've been able to pull together through all of this trying time.
And
Because
Sheila, did you think when you did that first recipe call that you'd be still doing recipe calls
Echo.
6 months later?
No.
You know, yeah.
No. I said something the other day. I said, you know, I did this in April for the first time, and we just did our 18th last night. And I'm like, holy cow.
She thought she was going to get a one and done, but
Yeah.
nuh-uh.
Yeah, I keep on thinking, what else can we cook? You know, what else do we need recipes for?
Oh, trust me, I got lots of good people on those calls.
Oh,
And
they'll
I
always
ha-
be good for recipes.
There's always appetite.
I have to share
Yeah.
one really short story. Last night, somebody was on the call, and she's an ILS instructor, and she said, Sheila, I want to tell you that I'm taking all of these recipes that you are putting together, and I'm sharing them with my students. And I have some students that are lower capable and some that are higher. So I let the ones that can't do quite as much, you know, try the simple recipes, and the ones that want to try the harder ones, they get to try them, and they are loving it. And I called Cindy and I said, you're not going to believe what I heard. I said, this is so amazing. So
I'm picturing an ACB recipe book that's
Hush.
sold by the ACB mini mall. What do you think, Tony? Would the proceeds go into ACB?
I think they should go to Sheila.
Told me to hush too.
Anyway, I want to wish you guys a very happy Thanksgiving.
Are you going to call in for Friendsgiving?
She's working it.
You're working it, of course. What a stupid question for me to ask. Yeah.
Was Cindy in charge of organizing it? What do you think?
Yeah. Thank you, Sheila.
I have to go and be on the leadership. So good night,
Sheila,
everybody.
thanks for your time, talent, and treasure. You have been you're a gem. Thank you so much.
You're a very
She
dear
sure
person
is.
and a dear friend. So.
And by the way, Monica, Sheila kept all the El Presidente beer. She didn't share it.
The truth comes out.
All right, moving on, Monica.
Here we go to Nora.
Yeah. I think we can get a couple more in here.
Let's see.
Nora.
Hi.
Hi, Nora.
There you are.
Hi. I want to let you know, I want to thank you, Monica, Cindy, Dan, and Tony, and Eric Bridges, and everybody else. Thank you so much for the ACB virtual conventions. I listened to the general session. I listened to, I joined in at the auction at the national convention, and oh my goodness, I'm enjoying it all, and I'm very happy. And I want to thank you all for all your wonderful hard work. I know it takes sometimes frustration and then sometimes excitement, and I want to thank you all for everything. And happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Well,
And
thank
you
you,
for
Nora.
being part of it. Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Awesome.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank
Be
you.
safe and stay well. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Monica, who else we got?
We have, let's see, Terry.
Hi, Terry.
You'll see an ask to unmute.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Terry.
There we are. Okay. I just want to, I think we all need to be thankful to originally to Cindy, to Debbie, just to so many people. I know I'm very thankful for getting myself into doing Zoom. Sometimes I'm beginning to regret it because I'm doing so much of it. But it's, you know, it's again, like see what the people have said. I took a hiatus from ACB for a number of years, but the convention and all that's going on these days has really pulled me back in so many ways, to the point of where I'm even doing a special event tomorrow night with the FCC for everyone on ACB and beyond. And next week, incidentally, we're also going to be doing another Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, to think about what you're thankful for from that time. But so much of our lives in so many different ways have been changed because of what's gone on in ACB this year. And I thank you very much, Dan, for bringing the organization into the 21st century and into such a great place of progress. I think you've just done a fabulous job with it. And for the guy who was the birder, the person he needs to get in touch with definitely is Jerry Berrier in the BSCB affiliate. He's very well known for his blind birding.
Oh, very good.
And
Is
Terry,
he?
go ahead, Dan.
Is he part of Guidelines and Gadgets? Is that Barry?
No, that's
not
no,
Barry. That's
no.
Barry, not Jerry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Jerry Berrier.
Jerry Berrier. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think I don't know if he still is. He was the secretary of Bay State Council, but he's on national radio shows occasionally with his birding. He's phenomenal with it.
That's fantastic. And Terry, thanks for all you do. Thanks for having your, hosting an ACB radio show on Mainstream now. Way to go. Yeah.
I'm thrilled to have it there.
And I promise I'll never be your host again. Only because I love you.
Terry, everything you do in the district around DC as well. Thank you for just all your advocacy and your own, just being a strong voice as well.
And we look forward to the FCC presentation.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Tomorrow night.
Yes. That's tomorrow night. So that should be good too. But yes, and well, let's put it this way. I finally, after all these years, this year, we absolutely decided with what we were seeing in the progress of ACB, we decided to become MMS members, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, monthly monetary support. And thank you. We had over 80 new members that joined during the convention this year, which is just phenomenal.
And
I mean,
over
again,
$109,000 this year, thanks to people like you, Terry. So thank you.
So thank you so much. Yeah. We really, really appreciate it.
All right, Monica, the one or two more I think we can squeeze in. How are we doing?
Okay, we got. Well, you definitely have more than two.
And we'll find a way to get in touch with everybody afterwards as well. They can.
Okay. The next person is Michael.
Hi, Michael.
You will see an ask to unmute. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Michael.
Thanks for joining, Michael.
Dan, I have a question for you. I, of course, am very aware that you guys have, of course, made the wise decision to have the virtual convention next year, which I think is absolutely, I support that decision. But my question for you is, I know this year, of course, they didn't have any elections, that all of you decided that since you were working with this system, that you would not elect officers or board members at this year's convention. Are you guys planning to have elections next year?
We are trying our very best to. We just put together a voting ad hoc committee chaired by Pat Sheehan, board of directors from Maryland, with the goal to work to try to have voting in place for this year's virtual convention in 2021. We are incorporated under the DC non-for-profit code. And right now they have an exemption in place where even if you have a conflict with your constitution and bylaws, this exemption will allow you to go ahead and have voting due to the pandemic and extenuating circumstances. Unfortunately, this exemption is granted by our DC, District of Columbia mayor. And right now, it's only through December 31st, 2020. We believe that she will extend that into 2021, and we're working to get in touch with the mayor's office and try to advocate to make that happen. So assuming she extends that to 2021, I think that will allow us to clear our legal hurdle, and then it'll be up to the team after that to really work on the logistics of how do we do voting at a virtual convention with well over 1,000 people in attendance. But we are working very hard to do that this year. So thanks for that question, Michael. And thanks for all your participation in ACB.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have the next question comes from a phone number ending in 1941.
Of 1941.
Hello.
Feel free to unmute.
Hello.
This is,
Hi.
hey, Dan, it's Carol from Nashville. So good to get a chance to talk to you
Carol,
again.
how are you doing? How's Orlando?
Orlando and I are doing really well.
Good.
And I want to say to y'all, as somebody who's been a member of ACB for, it's hard for me to even say this, but for 50 years.
You must have joined when
I
you
started
were
when
2.
I was 10. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
But it is so great. For years, I would try to get people to join ACB, and they would say to me, well, what is the national office, and what do they do up there? And I really couldn't answer the question. Like, they're working on complicated stuff in DC, and it really didn't relate to us on the local and state levels very much. But now, with the virtual convention, and now with all the community calls, we do know what you guys are doing, and we do have a connection to the national organization, and people don't ask that question anymore. And if they do, I can say, hey, get on these community calls and pay attention, and you'll learn all you ever wanted to know about it. The board is transparent now. You don't have to just read the minutes of the Braille Forum. You can learn what you want to learn. And I also want to thank you for tackling some of the tough subjects. I wish 20 years ago, I'm happily remarried, as you know, but 20 years ago, I lost my first husband, and it was very traumatic. And I wish there had been something back in those days, like the support group for widows and doing cancer support and stuff like that. We're really taking on it's not all fun and coffee social. And we really are taking on some tough things for people who really need these tough things. And I'm just glad for the tremendous variety that's out there. It's really made ACB a vibrant, wonderful organization, better than I thought it ever could be. Thank you, everybody.
Well, we're glad for you. Yeah,
thank you, Carol, and happy Thanksgiving for you in Orlando. And you're right. There's so much that we're helping each other with, giving back. And Monica and I were talking when she came to Orlando that's kind of what resonated with her, was the fact that this was a group of people that weren't, we were actually asking each other how we felt and what we were going through, and we genuinely care, and I think that's unique. There's not many communities that offer that, and we do, and it's really, really, really important. And we continue to work, to fight our systemic bias, but I think we're trying our best. I'm really impressed with the work the Multicultural Affairs Committee has done to really heighten the awareness of how important it is for us to be inclusive. And I even hate that word sometimes now, inclusive kind of, but I think maybe the better word is welcoming for all people. And, and so nobody's perfect. We're not there yet, but part of our new vision and mission statement and core focus is we are the place where you have a voice, a choice, and a community. And I really like that.
And Dan, it's been so wonderful to hear everybody sharing what they're thankful for tonight as well. It's been very humbling. We have a wonderful job in what we do each day, and we couldn't do it without everybody on this call and everybody listening in right now. One last question, Dan, for you. We've obviously shared what we're so thankful for. What are we most looking forward to in the coming year? What's the one thing you're looking forward to the most in 2021?
My wife just yelled the holiday auction, but I don't know that that's it. But anyway, it is for her. Yes, no, but seriously, I not that I don't care. I care a lot about the holiday auction, but seriously, I do think and I've shared this a couple of times times with folks, but we are in a unique spot in the history of our nation and our society. I really do believe, and Tony, you and I have talked about this a little bit, when things aren't going so well is the time when society is open to change, to listening. When everything's going well and everybody's happy, it's easy to kind of marginalize those that maybe are not on the front lines in situations. But right now, we all have a voice, and I do believe there's just this unique opportunity for our blind and visually impaired community to make huge systemic differences over the next year or two. I just feel like, as I've shared, from 100 years ago, from 1915 to 1945, in the middle of two world wars, a Spanish flu, a pandemic, a Great Depression that gave over 25% of our people in the country were unemployed. Through all that strife, that's when the blindness community, made a lot of progress. That's when, the American Foundation for the Blind was created. That's when the National Library Service was put in place. The Randolph-Shepard Vendors Act, the Wagner-O'Day Act were passed. Social Security was passed that allowed Title X for those with disabilities. The first guide dog school, Seeing Eye, was founded. The first consumer groups were created. The rehabilitation system as we know it now was started and really promulgated during the war, because all of a sudden everybody needed to be involved. And from 1941 to 1945, the Industries for the Blind created $32 million worth of products for our military every year that was needed during the war. And so all of a sudden there was opportunity for some of us that had been marginalized in the past. And I think with the digital revolution, with the technology and the artificial intelligence and all of the technological progress and potential that's out there, I really believe these next 2 or 3 years, we can make a significant difference in the lives of the blind and visually impaired community for decades to come. I think they could easily look back at 2020 to 2025 at the times where our community really took that next big step towards being a normal, integrated, participating member of society. I just believe it.
I love it. And I'm quoting another advocate who said, and I said this earlier today, Dr. King said, "I have a dream." He never said, "I have a complaint." And,
right.
And I love that dreaming. And so I'm looking forward to having everybody join us with ACB in 2021. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this evening's event. If we didn't get to your questions, I apologize. We're, I think, past 9 o'clock now. But you can email me, astevens@acb.org, ASTEPHENS @acb.org. And Monica and Cindy and everybody, thanks so much. And thanks everybody for listening on ACB Radio. And Debbie, thanks for steering the helm with the ACB Radio. And Dan, thanks to you. Thanks for taking time out of your evening to be with us and really share about what we're thankful for with ACB tonight.
And thank you. And thank you to all our members and friends, and happy Thanksgiving. My favorite holiday of the year. Great food and lots of football.
Be safe and stay well, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye. Good night,
Monica,
everybody.
thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome. My pleasure.